What's up? Nonsense Steve. I'm filling in for the nerd tonight. We let him actually get out of the cage every once in a while. I have a personal life. I'm going to answer some start-sit questions here before we get into Thursday Night Football, a game I'm not looking forward to and probably will not be watching. All right, let's get into it. All right, first up at the top. A long time ago, Swindle Chan. He was ready. He was prepared. Need a QB, 4-point passing touchdown. Stafford, Caleb, CJ, Gino, A-Rod, Cousins, Russ. That's a lot of options. Okay, definitely not CJ or Gino. Just from what I'm seeing right there, Stafford's probably going to be my highest one. Stafford, Caleb, Cousins, Russ. Yep, it is Stafford for me. I've got Stafford at 13. Caleb is the next highest at 17. So there you go. What do we got? Need to standard. Ew, gross. Standard. Bucky, Tracy, McCormick, Braylon, Chubb, Kendre, knowing injuries and bad matchup. I don't think Bucky plays, so definitely not Bucky. I'm going to go with Tracy and probably, let me double check. Tracy for sure. He's in my top 20. It's not. Yeah, Braylon, I've got 3 spots ahead of Chubb, and he's the one that's been getting a majority of the carries with Brees not playing. So I think that's the way that ultimately continues. So there you go. Tracy and Braylon Allen, those are my 2. Garindo worth the risk over London, Lamb, or Connor. I have Garindo right now as my RB 15 on the week. So yes. Not over Lamb, probably not over London. I've got Connor 2 spots ahead of him. So is he worth playing? Yes. Is he worth playing over one of your studs? I would say no. I think the risk is too high. I would still stick with the guys that you've got there. For context, like I said, I've got Connor 2 spots higher at 13. I have CeeDee Lamb as my wide receiver 6. I have Drake London as my wide receiver 18. If you're in full PPR, you're probably rolling out London, but I could absolutely understand you starting Garindo over London. Garindo, Bucky, Kamara, or Sharbs in PPR. I definitely am not playing Bucky again. I believe he doesn't play. Garindo, like I said, I've got at 15, so he's interesting. Kamara, I have way down there. I don't like anybody on the Saints offense right now. I think the answer to this one is going to be Sharbs. Let me double check where I've got Charbonnet. Where do I have Charbonnet on here? Trying to read my own stuff. There he is. I got him at RB8. The note that I've got here on my Charbonnet ranking is that not only does he have a great matchup, he's finished as a top 10 running back every time Walker has missed a game this season. He falls into desperation flex range if Walker played for some reason, but it does not look like he's going to play. Walker missed practice for the 2nd time today, so more than likely he is out. So Sharp's 100% there. Garindo, Reed, or Downs in my flex. Garindo, 100%. Stafford, Stroud, or Winston. I believe I'm going with famous Jameis. Get those crab legs ready. Yep, I got Winston at 11 and Matt Stafford at 13. So Stafford, I feel like, is the more reliable floor, but the ceiling, the YOLO shot, is crab legs. Crab legs Winston. I think, like I said, he's my play to be a top 10 guy. Stafford could end up as 8 or 9 this week, but Winston is the guy who could end up as 1. So if you need the safe floor, if you feel good about the rest of your team, I'm taking Stafford. But if you want to take the moon shot, it's Winston. DJ Moore or BTJ? What a question. I got DJ Moore at 23. I got Brian Thomas Jr. at 16. So even with Mac Jones, I ain't scared. I got no note on that. What was it last week? It was, he had, since the bye week, even with Mac Jones, he had 10 targets against Houston, Brian Thomas, and he had 12 targets against Tennessee. If he ends up in the end zone, he's a top 12 play. Even if he doesn't, he's a reliable wide receiver too. So BTJ. Let's see. How does the absence of Trent Williams hurt the 49ers? Will the rain have any impact on both sides of the ball? Trent Williams didn't play on Sunday either. So I'm going to go ahead and say no on that one. And then the rain have any impact? Like if it's downpouring, then yes, they're going to throw less and they're going to run the ball more. But that's about it. Let's see. Currently have Connor and Tracy as my starting running backs. I like that start already. He's got Neighbors, McLaurin, and Wilson as wide receivers. Cup at flex. Sit Tracy and start Garindo, or put Garindo at flex. Fantastic question. And I love the way you laid that out too. Gave me all the information I would ask and want to know. Like I said, I got Connor at 13. I have Tyrone Tracy at 19, and I have Garindo at 15. I really like Tyrone Tracy, but I think Garindo is the moonshot. He's the one that could finish as a top 5 back. So he's the guy that I would probably be playing over Tracy as your running back number 2. And then the question comes down to, are you playing Cup or are you playing Tracy? And right now I've got Cooper Cup. Let me see if I would rank those differently, because I've got Cooper Cup at 13. McLaurin, where do I have Scary Terry? I got McLaurin at 8. I've got, oh yeah, okay. That's where it's going to be. I have Malik Neighbors at 22 and Garrett Wilson at 20 in terms of my wide receivers. So I 100% would be playing Connor and Garindo as my running backs. You need to put Garindo in the running back spot because you want to open up that flex for the weekend. And then you would have McLaurin, Cup as your wide receivers, and Neighbors. And then it comes down to Garrett Wilson or Tyrone Tracy at your running back spot. And just looking at this right quick. Wilson, game log, 4-2-4-11. I'm playing Tracy. I'm playing Tracy as my flex. So there you go. There's your answer. Start Garindo at running back, start Cup at wide receiver, and then I'd have Tracy in my flex spot with the option to switch it to Wilson if you wanted to do that later. Polo. Half PPR, start 1. Cousins or Stafford. Stafford by a million miles, especially if you have Cooper Cup, but Stafford 100% of the way. Why is Jacoby Myers and DK questionable? Because they haven't been practicing. That's why they are questionable. Have to drop 2 to get Garindo out of my lineup because Pickens Downs on IR. Options are Murray when you have Hurts, Downs, Garindo, Pickens, Braylon Allen, Judy, Addison, or leave Garindo in the flex. I'm fine leaving Garindo in the flex. If you need to open up the roster spots, since you already have Hurts, I'd be okay cutting Kyler Murray. It's not great, but I'd be okay with it. And then I'm pretty sure I'm dropping Josh Downs. Where do I even have Josh Downs on my list? 79. Yes. I would 100% be dropping Josh Downs. So I would drop Downs, and then if you still need a spot, drop Murray, but I'd be okay playing Garindo. Let's see. Need 1 wide receiver, PPR, BTJ, DK, or Thielen. I'm going BTJ. I am highly questioning if DK plays. Even if he does, I've got him at 24, back-end wide receiver 2. Thielen has been red hot. I've got him at 17, 1 spot behind BTJ. Look, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to go Thielen instead. He finished as wide receiver 9 2 weeks ago against Tampa, wide receiver 22 last week against Philly, 10 targets and 11 targets in those games. They're playing Dallas, so it's not as good of an offense. They may be in a situation where they're actually trying to control the clock and run the ball more. So I don't know. But Thielen, very solid. I definitely think, as crazy as it seems, DK is the one that's for sure eliminated from that context. But BTJ by a hair for me. Garindo or Ridley, I would go Garindo. Bijan is starter. Algier on my bench. Oh, this is going back to your other one. Yeah, you're still good. Garindo or Hall? Do you mean Brees Hall? If you mean Brees Hall, he's not. I doubt he plays. I would be shocked if Brees Hall suits up. I would play Garindo. Darnold, Murray, or Jordan Love? It is Sam Darnold, and it is not close at all. Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson? I'm going Jefferson. Still have him as a top 6 guy. I've got in my notes that when they played the Bears, he randomly had his worst game in like 2 years, and he is going to have a revenge game on Monday night. I think he has monster numbers in that game against Chicago. Let's see. Devonta Smith, Elijah Moore, or Ray McLeod. Return yard points? Don't give me return yard points. Come on now. I don't care about who returns kicks. In a PPR league, what do I got? I got Devonta Smith at 38. I have Elijah Moore at 44, assuming that Tillman plays, or I'm sorry, that Tillman doesn't play. And then I got Ray McLeod below that. Nope, 43. So I got them right next to each other. So the answer is Devonta Smith, but the return yards throws a wrench into it. I just don't know in what direction. It's not on my radar because I don't play in any return yard leagues. So genuinely does nothing for me. Debo or Jaden? Ew, gross. Ugh. God, you're gonna make me throw up. Boy, that's the best you got. I guess Jaden Reed if I absolutely had to, but that's disgusting. Adunze or Tillman if he's good to go. Tillman if he plays, but if he doesn't, then you're stuck with Adunze, and I don't know how great that is. Evans or Jennings. Evans for sure. Let's see. Murray or Daniels. Jaden Daniels, 100% by a mile. I've got Jaden Daniels as my QB3 on the week. I've got Kyler Murray outside of my top 12. Back to the original question. You have Charbonnet, yes. Should I hold out for him at flex, assuming Walker does? Yeah. Flex. Let me go back to that. Tracy Sturt Garindo. Wait, was the original? That was the original one, wasn't it? You have Connor and Tracy as your running backs. Neighbors, McLaurin, Wilson. Sit Tracy, start Garindo. Where's Sharps coming from? You're confusing me. Yeah, we had a Charbonnet question, but it wasn't you, was it? I didn't think it was. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm working under the assumption that Charbonnet is the starting running back and that Walker is not playing. If Walker doesn't play, Charbonnet is a top 10 play. So if you've got him somewhere on your roster, you're playing him. But the thing you have to keep in mind is, okay, he's on your bench. There you go. Then yes, you are playing him 100%. But it would be, I've got Charbonnet ranked ahead of all those guys, then Connor, then Garindo, then Tracy, in that order. So you're 100% starting Charbonnet, and then you would put Garindo into a running back slot so you have the flex open, and then you would be playing Connor, and that buys you time anyway. Because then if it comes out that for whatever reason Walker is playing, then you have your flex spot open to move in Tracy or one of your other wide receivers that we talked about. Okay, what do we got? Standard league. Need a flex and a tight end. Okay, well, if you need a flex and a tight, Charbonnet for sure. 100% Charbonnet, not Patrick Taylor. You're taking too much of a risk that, You're really banking on Gurindo being more hurt than he's leading on, and that he doesn't play all the snaps. So throwing Taylor out. It's Charbonnet 100% as your flex. Tight end is throw a dart at the wall, my friend. That's how the tight end position works this year. If I absolutely have to throw a dart, I would take Sam Laporta of those options that you've got there. Yeah, I mean, I've got him ranked 4 spots ahead of Kraft. That's about it. I'm playing Charbonnet over Thielen, over Taylor, over anybody. Half PPR, start 1 flex. Elijah Moore versus the Chiefs. Bucky, don't think Bucky plays. Rome versus the Vikings, or Isaiah Davis versus the Jags. I would play Isaiah Davis out of those options. He's the pass catching back. He's the one that's been falling in the end zone. Of those, it's Bucky 100% easily if he suits up, but I don't think he does. I think he sits out again. And when he sits, then it would be Isaiah Davis. Evans or T. Higgins, still Evans. And it looks like that's all we've got right now. So if you still got questions, hit me up. We can run through some stuff real quick here. What do I got over here? I got my top plays this week, thanks to Fantasy Pros. All right, here's my top 12 quarterbacks this week. I got Josh Allen at the top, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, I already mentioned at 3. Tua is on a heater. I'm ahead of consensus on Tua. Nobody else is buying into it, and I don't understand how. He has 4 straight top 10 finishes, and 2 of his last 3 games he's finished in the top 5. This is the toughest matchup of the season for Jalen Hurts, which gets him down to 5. But otherwise, it's hard to sit him. I also have Joe Burrow 6, which is a lot lower than most people have him. And it just, again, you're still going to start him, but it feels like a trap game to me. Most of these games, like he's been a top 3 quarterback 4 of his last 5 games, but he's been chasing points or in a shootout in all those games. I'm not convinced that this is actually a game. The Bengals aren't good, but the Titans are significantly worse. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is over by halftime and they just stop throwing the ball. So I don't think Burrow puts up monster numbers. I think he has a fine week, but I don't think it's anything to write home about. Let's see what else we got. I can take that down, bring this over here. Purdy or Murray, Brock Purdy, 100%. Otten or Odunze? Oh, God, that's horrible. Oh, man, probably Odunze, but let me see. Like we had talked about before, the idea, stupid thing. We talked about the idea that Cade Otton was very valuable with Mike Evans out, but as soon as Mike Evans would come back, it would be a train wreck. And sure enough, Evans was out 10 points, 20 points, 14 points. Evans comes back and 4 points, 3 points, 2 points, 7 points. So yeah, I can't trust Cade Otton to do anything. I'll take Rome Odunze. I'll take the off chance that he falls in the end zone. I think he's got just as much shot as Otton does. Daniels or Stafford, also have Puka. I'm still going Daniels. Gurindo, JT, and James Cook. I know Gurindo is one of them. James Cook is the other. Jonathan Taylor, I got down at 25 outside my top 24. So there you go. Daniel, you are relying a lot on Gurindo this week. Good luck to you, my friend. All right, Kamara or Dowdle? Dowdle for sure. Even though I have jokingly said multiple times on the Wednesday show that, you know what, let's lead into that. I'll use this as an excuse to bring up my wide receiver, my running backs instead. I've joked several times about the idea that you never start Rico Dowdle, but since they named him the starter, which I don't understand how he wasn't the starter anyway, but since they named him officially the starter in the last 3 weeks, he's averaging 20 carries for 110 yards per game. The passing game usage isn't really there, but he's a guaranteed 11 with touchdown upside to 17. It's hard to ignore that. Meanwhile, You've got Alvin Kamara on a horrible offense with their third string quarterback, just flat out terrible. And he's gotten a 13, a 16, and a 13 the last 3 games they played. He had a 16 against Atlanta. Really, you're just hoping that he falls into the end zone, which he hasn't done since week 6. He's not getting the usage in the passing game without Derek Carr back there. I don't know. It's real rough. Polo wants to know where I got Amari Cooper. That's a great question. Can bring up my wide receivers as well while we're here. Amari Cooper this week, I have at wide receiver 45. So I've got him outside flex, outside wide receiver 3, outside of everything. I think it was 1 week. I don't think it was a monster game to begin with. It was nice to finally see him click in that offense. But like I said in our Discord, I don't think that they overuse him. They brought him in specifically to use in the playoffs. The fact that he got 14 targets in that game, I think, had a lot to do with the fact that they were chasing points against the Rams for no apparent reason. And now they've got Coleman back. They should have Kincaid back. They have more weapons than just Amari Cooper this week. And I think they're going to play a tough Detroit defense and a tough team in a close game. But I don't think they're going to be in a track meet by any means. My top 24, I got Puka at number 1 tonight. Again, the rain could throw all this off, but that's fine. Nico, Tyreek. For Jamar Chase, I have the exact same reasoning. Everybody else has him as number 1. I dropped him a few spots because there's a non-zero chance that this game is just completely over at halftime. So you're hoping really that Jamar Chase is the reason the game is over at halftime. If that is the case, then yes, it'll pay off as a top 12 week, but could be risking the bust. Like I said, I got Jefferson there because I think he has a bounce back game against the Bears from what he did last time. Jerry Jeudy is another one. ECR still hates Jerry Jeudy just on this stigma. They've got him at wide receiver 20 in the ECR. He hasn't finished 20 or lower since week 9, so I don't know what they're thinking. And let's see, anyone else? McLaurin, Evans, that makes sense. Cortland Sutton, I'm a little bit higher on than usual. Same thing. JSN. I mean, right now it looks like DK is highly questionable, but JSN is going to be, I've got it as Sunday night being the JSN coming out party because he's on the national stage. He's been the wide receiver 1 for them the last few weeks. I think he has a monster week and destroys the Packers. Let's see. What do we got? Pop this up. Go back over here. Would you pick up Ingram, Henry, Freiermuth, Calcaterra? Need a tight end this week in the playoffs if possible. Let me see here. So for this week, yeah, I don't trust Evan Ingram. He's dealing with an injury. He's not going to play this week, so definitely not him. Hunter Henry would probably be my selection. We talked about it a little bit on the Monday show, but it's just hard to ignore the volume. Before the 3 weeks before the bye, he had 9 targets, 8 targets, 9 targets. He had 4 targets against Chicago, but before that, 8 targets, 6 targets, 9 targets. Like the dude is just force fed the ball in that offense. They're facing Arizona, Buffalo, and LA the last 3 weeks of the season. So I'm not scared of any of those matchups. I think it would probably be Hunter Henry for me. His biggest issue is he hasn't fallen in the end zone. We saw 2 games of Calcaterra being the, tight end 1 in the Eagles offense, and he didn't crack the top 20. So I'm not buying that at all. And then Freiermuth has been on a heater himself, playing well with Russ. He was tight end 5 last week, 6 the week before. But again, we're trying to figure out if that's actually sustainable. He fell in the end zone twice. So the volume isn't there, but the touchdowns have been. I think the safest play is Henry. If you're shooting for the upside and the touchdowns, probably Freiermuth. Myers, Flowers, White, Ramondre. I would go White. Pretty sure. Yeah, White, assuming Bucky doesn't play. If Bucky does play, then you're probably going with Myers. Myers would be my bet on that one. It might still be White. But I'm going to say Myers. Of course. Happy to help. We got 2 minutes. Fastest 2 minutes in football. Did wide receivers, tight ends. There's my top 12 tight ends. And this is really just generic in terms of the rankings, because really it's tiers. I've got Kittle, McBride, Bowers, and Jonnu Smith in a tier all by themselves up there in the top 4. The guys that I actually trust, the guys that I actually think are going to do something, I've got them up there. The next tier is Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, TJ Hawkinson, Sam Laporta, guys that have the talent to put up numbers, but haven't been getting in the end zone or need to get in the end zone to matter. And then tier 3 is literally everyone else. Hunter Henry's at the top of that list, Ertz, even Tucker Kraft, because they're getting volume. But really, I would be looking at any of those guys in the top 8 if you got them. But otherwise, you're just hoping somebody falls into the end zone. It's a prayer. Last, but certainly least, defense. My number 1 play on defense this week, Denver, going up against Indy. The defense has been solid. They've been a top 10 defense every single week over the last month, I believe. I can verify that before I just say random things. Yes, over the last month, top 10 defense. Also, Indy, not good. So Anthony Richardson loves to turn the ball over. Turnovers mean points. Denver's my number 1 go-to. And then everybody who watches the Monday show knows it's anyone against the Titans. Cincinnati is not a good defense, but the Titans are a horrible team. So Cincinnati, my number 2 play of the week, going up against Tennessee. Ravens against the Giants. Vikings on Monday against the Bears. Kansas City against Cleveland. Arizona, Washington, the Jets, Houston, LA, Philly, and last but not least in my top 12, Jacksonville. Yes, again, just like the Bengals, Jacksonville, not a very good defense, but they were just defense number 7 last week against Tennessee. A couple weeks ago, they were defense number 6 against Minnesota. They're playing the Jets this week. And if you're looking for somebody long-term, they play the Vegas Raiders next week. They play Tennessee. Anyone against Tennessee in week 17. So the Jags, a fantastic rest of the way schedule. That's it. We're here. We've done it. We've made it. It's 8:15 in the East. Go watch the game. Appreciate you guys being here. If you're here on YouTube, appreciate you being here. If you're here on Twitch, come chill with me. I'm about to go stream some Indiana Jones over on my Twitch. Let's see if we can get that to click. It's probably not going to work. I know it's not going to work on that one. But yeah, I'm about to start streaming over there right now. So please come hang out. Appreciate you guys being here. Well, no, it didn't work. And again, as always, till next time, keep up the nonsense.